My name is Ray. I'm a librarian at the Volusia County Public Library, and we have a couple of guests with us today. Jill, did you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure. My name is Jill Christoferson. I am a outreach and education biologist with the Division of Marine Fisheries, and I'm based out of Jacksonville.
Excellent. And Hannah?
Yeah, so my name's Hannah Hart. Like Jill, I work for the Division of Marine Fisheries, but I am the Northeast Regional Biologist under the Analysis and Rulemaking section.
Excellent. So you both work for Florida Fish and Wildlife, so that's interesting in itself. Hannah, what excites you most about your work?
I think one of the biggest things is the ocean is, a large place with a lot of organisms that inhabit it. It's, a natural resource that supplies a lot of jobs, but also a lot of joy to people. So I think playing my part in ensuring those fisheries that we have here in Florida are sustainable is rewarding and exciting of itself.
Excellent. And Jill, what excites you most about your work?
So the short answer is that I get to talk about fish all the time, which makes me really, really happy. I grew up fishing and on the water, so just getting to share that with people and also getting to see those aha moments when educating someone and seeing them make those connections and knowing that they're actually taking something away from the interaction is really, really rewarding and exciting.
So what's the one thing we should probably know about your area of expertise, Jill, that we may not?
Oh gosh, that all fish are interesting, I think, is probably one of the best things. And it's not just those, really popular fish like redfish and spotted sea trout, but that there are just such a diversity of species that Florida has, and they all have really cool creature powers and are just all really interesting.
And Hannah, what's the one thing we should know that we probably don't?
Kind of same as Jill, but just to add on to it, each species plays their own role in the ecosystem, and it's all one area where they all contribute to things. But also, this job isn't always glamorous by any means, so you got to get ready to get down and dirty, sort of thing.
So is there a particular favorite fish that you have?
Oh man, I have a special place in my heart for sharks, but I like crabs too. I did some research on crabs, so they're jerks, but they're awesome.
And Jill, do you have a favorite fish?
I have several favorite fish because I'm a crazy person. So I actually really love Gulf sturgeon and Atlantic sturgeon. That's this guy right here. They are super cool. They're like dinosaurs. They're so old. I also really love batfish. If you don't know what they are, look them up. They are the goofiest, coolest looking fish ever. And I also have a very special place in my heart for striped bass, just because they're a migratory species. They're really fun to catch, and they're also pretty tasty.
Excellent. So, Hannah, has there been a book that's influenced you the most?
Yeah, so like I said, I love sharks. And Eugene Clark was one of the first females to really study sharks and stuff like that. So she has a book called The True Adventures of Eugene Clark. And that was one story that really resonated with me as a young girl, especially because I'm from the Midwest, so my passion for marine biology stemmed from going to an aquarium, kind of like hers as well. So.
And Jill, did you have a formative book, so to speak?
I do. It's kind of nerdy though, so I actually have it here because I refer to it so often. It's the Peterson Guide, and so I know that sounds silly, but growing up, my dad had a whole wall of them, and so we would look at them together, and so that's kind of how it started, is just being able to look up those great pictures of these different species and learning about them, and I really would just enjoy looking through them as a child. So they probably made a great impact on me.
Sure. So I guess while we've got you here, we can ask some bonus questions too. Is there anything that particularly you should share with us? I went for my run this morning on the beach. There were lots of anglers out there doing some fishing. It's a great day here in Daytona Beach area. Is there any advice that you could share with us?
So right now, horseshoe crabs are spawning and stuff like that. So a lot of them are, oftentimes horseshoe crabs, after they spawn, they will pass. So if you're seeing a lot of horseshoe crabs on the beach and stuff, it's kind of a good sign right now that they are spawning and contributing to future populations.
So many things. I'm so glad you asked. My fish swam away here for a minute. So yeah, definitely some things that we'd like to share with our anglers. One of the most and the easiest things is just knowing how to hold your fish. We want to make sure that they're holding them the way they swim, supporting them horizontally, and that's just so you're not putting too much pressure on the mouth. You figure you wouldn't probably enjoy being held by your jaw, so making sure that you're holding them that way. Also trying to handle them as little as possible. If you've ever touched a fish, I'm sure people know that they're very slimy, and that slime is actually really important for them, helps fight off infections. So the more you handle those fish, the more you wipe that slime coat off, and that actually, can be detrimental. So especially if you're releasing the fish, you want to make sure you're not doing that. We also really encourage anglers to use circle hooks, and they are non-stainless steel, and circle hooks are designed to catch the fish in the corner of the mouth more often. So that makes it a lot easier to get them off the hook, which is better if you're going to release them, but it also is a lot easier just for yourself. And then the non-stainless steel is really good because in the event that you have to leave a hook in the fish, that'll rust out, or that'll rust out a lot quicker. And we also encourage anglers that if, unfortunately you do hook a fish further in the stomach or in the throat, rather than pulling that hook out, cutting the line as close to the hook as possible and leaving it in is actually been shown to be better for the fish long term. And so those are the key tips. And then also the age-old carry in, carry out. So if you're out there, make sure that you're taking your trash with you and not leaving it out in the environment.
Excellent. So Hannah, your research has been with sharks. Is that you?
So I have quite a jump in research. So I started off with sharks, and then I did some stuff with finfish like red snapper, and then moved on to blue crabs. But my role right now is a management role. So it's really focusing on rules and regulations when you go fishing and things like that, and ensuring that, we're not over harvesting the fish, but still allowing the access of harvest and catch and release, whatever anglers prefer within our Florida waters.
Interesting. And Jill, your day-to-day work with Florida Fish and Wildlife is?
A little bit of everything. So I do work a lot with our Catch a Florida Memory Angler Recognition Program. And so I get to see a lot of people's catches, and I also get to help them identify them, which also goes with the know before you go. So I always encourage people to just kind of learn about the species in their area and what they're targeting, because people are not always aware, and fish can look similar. So I work a lot with that program. I also, talk to anglers about handling their fish, work on different ways to get people involved and get our messaging out, developing different ways to do that. So a lot of different things.
Excellent. Is there anything that you would share with anyone that wanted to get into the field of marine biology or get into wildlife conservation? I guess I'll ask you first, Jill.
I would say get as much experience as you can up front and try as many different things. And there's two reasons for that. One is that I found experience to be very much valued when people are applying for jobs, but it also helps you know what you like and what you don't like going forward, because there is just such a wide variety of different things that you could do that it kind of helps to narrow that down. And if you can do that in kind of a volunteering and internship capacity before you get into the workforce, that's really valuable.
And same question to you, Hannah.
Yeah, similar response to Jill. The more experience you get, the better off you'll be. Not just for future jobs and things like that, but also just like Jill said, getting to figure out what you want to do, especially like at high school and college ages. If there's so many free programs out there or low cost programs, so really take advantage of those if this is something you want to do in the future.
Excellent. Well, if people had more questions about Florida Fish and Wildlife or had some questions for you, is there a site that they could go to, Hannah?
Yeah, our website is myfwc.com. It's a great resource. We have volunteer programs on there. We have our different outreach and education programs on there, like what Jill does, like fishing clinics and all sorts of things.
So we always encourage people to email us with anything, marine@myfwc.com. Send us your questions, fish pictures, whatever. And we also do monitor all of our social media pages as well. So, those are some other really great resources to get in touch with us.
Any final remarks for our audience today?
If I can take a line from Dinosaur Train at the end, they say, get out there, go explore, and get into nature. And I don't really think that there's any better advice than that, especially with regards to our marine resources.
I'm just going to second what Jill said because she said it so eloquently.
Well, Jill, Hannah, thank you both for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.